While wandering through Akihabara on my endless quest to buy a Vice Sports booster pack that contains a card so valuable it would retroactively make up the cost of all the money I've wasted on Vice Sports booster packs, I found these. Acrylic pictures that depict the characters from Love Live Sunshine just going about their day. As soon as I saw them, I knew I would have to buy them. They give off this calming simplicity that I really like. Love Live is a very melodramatic show about girls doing ridiculous things, but in these pictures, they aren't in the middle of some emotional crescendo or overreacting about idle nonsense. Instead, they're just living their normal lives, doing things like walking down the road, resting after working out, or playing on the beach. It's a side of these characters that you don't always get to see, but what really draws me to these pictures and elevates them above any other piece of artwork is that the backgrounds are real-life images of the town of Numazu. The Sunshine Girls have just been superimposed onto them. If these were just drawings, I'm sure I'd like them, but I don't think they would resonate with me as much as these do. The art of blending reality and fiction is an aesthetic I've always really enjoyed, and I'm not the only one. If you go out searching, you can find tons of talented artists who are devoted to bringing anime girls into the real world. And anime men as well, I guess. And in doing so, create some stunningly gorgeous artwork which can invoke bittersweet feelings of having something that you want be just out of reach. And some really stupid images as well. So I wanted to take the time to have a look at some of these images and see what we can find out there, and then maybe also try and work out exactly why would you want to make images like this? Why do you feel the need to supplement reality with fiction? Elena eating a burger is an image that depicts Elena from Maho no Tabitabi, sitting at the table of a McDonald's with a mouthful of burger. And yeah, I get this as a joke, obviously, but that being said, I do think this is unironically a good image to break down the aspects of what you'll see in a lot of these pictures. The most notable one being how they are framed. Unlike traditional pictures, you'll notice that this one doesn't really have a focus. Instead, look at the angle of the shot itself. The image is mostly taken up by food, with Elena herself slightly off-center, with the top of her head cut off. An unusual, but in this case, deliberate choice. If we take a closer look at Elena's face, we can see that she's not really looking at us. Instead, her vision is off further to the right of the picture, looking at what would be just over our shoulder, with her expression not exhibiting any kind of emotion. She's just lost in thought, chewing her burger, completely oblivious to anything around her happening. This style is called candid, pictures that focus on a more natural depiction of a person or a situation. Most of the time the subjects of the picture aren't even aware that they're in one, meaning that a candid shot can have this honesty and vulnerability that you wouldn't always be able to achieve with a traditional photo shoot. With this in mind, we can see the implication of Elena eating a burger. That is, it's a photo. And whoever took this photo did so as quickly and as subtly as they could, and in turn captured a rare moment. And I say rare because in my experience, girls don't like it when you take photos of them eating. Now, I'm not saying that these pictures have to have the characters look off into the distance like they'd rather be somewhere else. Addressing the viewer directly is a different layer to these pictures, one used when trying to convey a specific feeling. So let's put that aside for now and move on to our next point. Doesn't this seem somewhat familiar to you? I'd wager that at some point in your life you've gone to a fast food restaurant with friends or family and just did nothing, eating your food in silence and just enjoying each other's company. There's an element of authenticity here that you can really grip onto and immerse yourself into the setting. Made simpler by the background being a real-life location. You may not have been in this McDonald's, but you have been in a McDonald's. You know what it feels like to sit on those hard plastic seats trying to block out the incessant noise of the other patrons. You know the sweet, headache-inducing smell of bleach mixed with sticky floor soda. You know the taste of salt on your fingers, and the feeling of wiping oil off on your shirt. The walls that separate you and this picture are not gone, but thinned. A space for you has been created in this picture because you recognize it as being real, so you can easily envision yourself in that space, as the one sitting across from Elena, trying to think of something, anything to say to this girl you tricked into coming to fucking McDonald's with you. Which brings us to a third and final point. why Elena? And I don't just mean why Elena specifically. What I mean is, why have someone who's not real in this picture? What does this give you that a picture of a real person doesn't? And I think that answer will become pretty self-evident as we go on. I just want to say there's actually a surprisingly large amount of pictures of various anime people sitting in real-life McDonald's, so take that as you will. The great thing about these pictures is that they allow you to see the characters under new but still recognizable contexts, situations that couldn't have happened in their respective series. These allow you to see the characters' expressions and appearances translate into the real world. The author of Rent-a-Girlfriend, author and artist of Rent-a-Girlfriend, Reiji Mijiyama, has taken his characters and brought them into the real world in a series of pictures that blend reality and fiction. By this I mean, in Japan, it is possible to rent a girlfriend to be your girlfriend. But it's not possible to rent the rent-a-girlfriend girlfriends to be your girlfriend. But in these images, it is. The pictures he's created are the same kind of candid shots as Elena eating a burger, but now the attention has been drawn to you, the observer, which means the characters now have to react to being seen by you. Their happiness, their shyness, their embarrassment, you in context are a part of this world. Rent-a-Girlfriend is about the relationship between a guy and a rent-a-girlfriend. But now, it's about your relationship with a rent-a-girlfriend. This story is playing out in a series of pictures with you as the main character. Have a look. The way she's awkwardly standing with a closed-off posture in the entrance of your door, implying that this might be the first time you've met each other. And then compare it to this one, where she's far more relaxed and open when in your presence. This story has been condensed into a few pictures instead of... How many chapters is it now? 367? Oh bro, just give it up at this point. As pictures though, look at the characters and how much consideration for their surrounding has been taken in. They haven't just been slapped onto a picture, they're in the picture. Look how the figure breaks the light and creates shadows on the floor. This one even taken into consideration multiple sources of light, or how her hair is blowing in the wind. It gives the characters weight and presence. To create a feeling that these situations have happened is the foundation for these kinds of pictures. It's not just a realistic background, it's how the characters are placed into it. All of this just to give the illusion that they were really there, and this really happened, that you are renting the rent-a-girlfriend girlfriends to be your girlfriend. And these pictures are very popular to say the least, with them racking up views in the millions. This one in particular being viewed about 5.5 million times, for obvious reasons. These images tap into a specific part of our brain, one that triggers the imagination. They allow you to build a narrative around these pictures, and when we are acknowledged as being a part of that narrative, it makes it easier to emotionally resonate with what we can see. It's wish fulfillment, an emotional need to see your fantasies realized. For instance, let's take Rei from Evangelion. Now this is a little bit embarrassing to admit, but I've always had this fantasy where Rei meets Tupac Shakur. And here they are, and I love this image. Putting aside how very, very silly these images are, look at how Rei's stoic expression and loose posture fit so well into them. Her naturally cool and aloof presence effortlessly complements the atmosphere these pictures give. And the thing I like about this one is how the filter gives this image an aged look, like it really was taken with a camera in the 90s. And while it is glaringly obvious that she's not supposed to be there, she doesn't feel out of place. It looks like that Rei at some point in her life took a break from healthy emotional development, side note, I haven't actually seen Eva, and decided to hang out with 90s rappers and hip-hop artists. There are lots of images of Rei specifically hanging out with rappers and hip-hop artists. Far more than Asuka. Take that as you will. It's quite simply unconventional humour. While romantic wish fulfillment is a large sample of these pictures, you can also just kind of do whatever the hell you want. And since the limits of your imagination are endless, you can answer some very strange questions, such as, what would it be like if Idolmasters Iku Tanakanaki was cooking with Gordon Ramsay? How would the Love Live girls react if they were awkwardly caressed by a former US president? The answer to that one is not well. Speaking of former US presidents, just look how these poses complement each other. Like Kirino's stubbornness is being mocked. But maybe you feel like that your favorite anime character needs a change in environment. In that case, you could just send them to a desolate Eastern European country, which again is a surprisingly popular thing to do. There must be something about the endless optimism of an anime girl that makes you want to send them to Europe. See how long they can keep up their sunny disposition for. There's also this one which haunts my nightmares ever since I saw it over a decade ago. And I know it's not an anime girl, but if I have to suffer, so do other people. The Reddit community r/anime in our world is a hotspot for anime girls in real life edits. Although most of them are what you would expect, girls making breakfast and being draped in linen sheets. This community does have a healthy level of self-awareness and has gone beyond still images and superimposed animations onto real life. And the thing that's great about these are they recontextualize the scenes used. For instance, taking this scene from Love is War of Chika hitting you with a fan and framing it like you're witnessing a murder. Or my personal favourite, ReZero's Rem botching her love confession to J.K. Simmons. And I know that superimposing 2D animated characters into live action is nothing new, but it is unfortunately I feel underutilized recently. So I want to give a hey that's pretty cool awards to Omuroke My Dear Sisters, which features a prolonged intro sequence of Sakurako and Himawari walking through Toyama, while the screen sort of bugs out with glitches, kind of like reality is weaker here. And what we're seeing is a different universe from ours beginning to leak out. There are also very dedicated people out there who take screenshots from anime, find where the scene happened in real life, and then travel there to hold up a picture. This instead makes the moments feel like the events had happened a lifetime ago, and that we're some kind of forlorn traveller recounting echoes of memories of something that didn't happen. There's a power in expressing the world with the fictional, diluting reality and rejecting truth. These pictures, this artwork, which is worthy to line the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, it dares to challenge our world, which is both sadly finite and depressingly infinite. It dares to say that we can make that ideal, beautiful world, where fiction refracts through these windows and we can ride that rainbow. Every time artwork like this is created, it chips away at that untouchable barrier between us and Elysium. And when that barrier is finally gone, what comes through is surreal. Narue is an artist whose illustrations have always had this unsettling vibe to them, typically showing the world around as warped and macabre, and the people inside as fragile and violent. But my favourites have always been the ones where Narue's characters are brought into the real world. And in them, you can see that the encompassing pressure of the world gets transferred into the characters, their 2D forms representing how different and isolated they feel from the real world, an alien who shouldn't be here. But unlike Eleanor eating a burger or Ray and the hip hop artists, this acknowledgement that they are out of place is used to allow the characters to express themselves in unusual ways. They may be in our reality, but not confined to our laws. Like this one, a point of view shot from the entryway of a house where we can see a lady creeping around the corner with this distressed look on her face, and behind her, a copy of herself, just sort of watching. In most examples I gave before, I explained how the authentic real-life aspect made the characters feel more like part of our world. What I find interesting about this one is how this picture reverses the concept. Think about what we're seeing. A woman in her own home has just encountered some strange doppelganger, something by all accounts should be impossible. If this is real, what else doesn't she know about? What other things can pervert her reality? The walls of her house suddenly becoming strange and alien to her. She no longer feels safe. She no longer feels a part of this world. Maybe she was never really a part of it. She pleads for you to help her, but all you can do is stand and watch, because you're not a part of her world either. And on further examination, I actually don't think that this is a picture. I think it's actually like digital art, like the whole thing, the people and the room, which I guess goes to show Narue's talent in creating realistic images and then juxtaposing that realism with expressive cartoon people. creating images that birthed these stories around them. And I want to take a second to appreciate the level of details in these. So much has been considered when adding these characters into the pictures, such as shadows, reflections in puddles, hair, and clothes blowing in the wind. So let's look at one that is undeniably a photo. A candid shot of a normal Japanese street, one unremarkable among the hundreds and hundreds you could find in this wide country. And standing out like a sore thumb is a giant fish monster emerging from the ground, and next to it, a girl that, on closer inspection, is partially submerged in the road. And oh no, she's seen you, she's marching towards you, you'd better run, friend, or you'll be fish food. But if we look around a bit more, the state of the world becomes apparent. In the foreground, funny little cat creatures are marching along the zebra crossing, with the sign to the left warning approaching cars that these cat things might be crossing here, implying that maybe this is a world where things like this are pretty typical. It's a fun and engaging form of storytelling, which is why I always find myself thinking of Narue's art long after I've put my phone away. I think the most impactful thing about Narue's art is how the people in them are honest and vulnerable. Like this one of a girl standing on a subway platform. Looking around, you can see copies of the very same girl, each conveying a different expression of happiness. One subtle, one ecstatic, one whatever blurriness is supposed to be. And in the background, a group of her walking away from herself. A complete spectrogram of feelings, all coming from a single girl. You might have noticed by now, but this girl features in a series of images. And despite never having uttered a word, I think we know what kind of person she is. She's awkward, eccentric, and unsure. And whether you see yourself behind the camera or in her spot, I think those are feelings that we can all relate to. We've looked at a lot of pictures, some good, some funny, some cursed, but all begging the same question: why do this? What's the appeal of taking a picture of your neighborhood or bedroom and superimposing, I don't know, fucking femto in there or something? Because we know the truth. You can add as much detail as you like, you can make the highest quality edit possible, but you can't hide reality, that no one is really there. Ray never hung out with rappers and hip-hop artists. Eleanor never went to McDonald's. You never rented the rent-a-girlfriend girlfriends to be your girlfriend. These pictures are empty. But in that emptiness you can fill them with whatever you want. Impressionistic fantasy, ridiculous what-ifs, wish fulfillment, or just a way to understand your own feelings. And I think that's the appeal of making these kinds of pictures. Imagining what you want to be there, to fill the space, and making it real. Creating an ideal world to escape into. There's one more I want to show. A video by an artist by the name of SVD Pony. It's a POV shot of a magical girl as they travel around various places in Tokyo at night. The crude 3D arms, frilly gloves, and flashy wand making this person feel so alien and distant to what's around them. The text on screen saying, "It's getting harder to be a magical girl." And yeah, I bet it is. It's getting harder to be a lot of things recently, so I think we can excuse ourselves for wanting to escape to somewhere a bit more understanding.